Today I'll be doing a fast foundation review of the Makeup Revolution Skin Silk Serum Foundation. I also heard a rumor that this is a dupe for a very popular high-end foundation, and I'll be giving you my opinion on that coming up. But first, I was deciding between shade F1 or F3. I actually preferred the neutral undertone of F1, but it was a little light, so I went with shade F3, even though the undertone was a bit cool and rosy for me. The viscosity of this formula is pretty runny, and anytime we have a runny formula, that tends to mean that it will apply better with a brush, which is what I'm doing here on the left, but I will also test it out with a beauty sponge on the other side. As I start applying on the right side, let me show you a picture of my oxidation test on shades F1 and F3. And also, here's a quick look at the basics of this formula. This is a serum foundation, and right off the bat, I have to give major props to Makeup Revolution for putting this in a pump bottle. Most companies market their serum foundations by putting them in dropper style bottles so they look more like skincare, since these foundations contain skin caring ingredients. And as you may know, those get so messy around the top. This one still gets a bit messy around the top due to it being a thin formula, but it's so much easier to wipe this one off. So thank you to Makeup Revolution, and I hope more companies will start to follow suit. This feels so nice on the skin. Most serum foundations I find to either feel very smooth and silicone-y or feel watery. An example of the silicone feel would be the Super Serum Foundation, which is also made by a subset of Makeup Revolution called Relove by Revolution, that has a very silky silicone feel to it, whereas this one feels more like water. I don't think that one feels better than the other, they're just different. The Super Serum Foundation by Relove looks a little dewier on my skin, whereas the one I'm using today definitely has more of a satin matte finish to it. I definitely like the way the brush applied best versus the sponge, although the best way to apply this is to go in with the brush first, applying in stippling motions, give it a minute or two to set, and then go back over the whole face with a clean sponge to absorb any excess. One thing I think you definitely need to know about this if you're interested in purchasing it is that it has a strong perfumey fragrance to it, which is pretty much the only thing I don't like about this foundation. So if I were just putting this on for myself, I would have stopped after one layer because the light to medium coverage was a perfect finish in my opinion to even out my skin tone. But because I know some of you will be curious, I decided to build it up a bit, and it builds beautifully. Although again, I feel like it looks best when you go in with just the one light layer. And finally, as I mentioned, I heard a rumor that this was a dupe for the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I do understand where that came from because both foundations offer a similar soft satin matte type finish. However, I personally wouldn't refer to it as a dupe, as I found the Makeup Revolution serum to be lighter in texture and more watery than the Armani Luminous Silk. If you're in a pinch or you're uncomfortable with the price tag of the Luminous Silk, these definitely have similar finishes, but I just want to be really honest with you that I personally don't find them to be similar enough to refer to this one specifically as a dupe. I wore this foundation for 6 or 7 hours, and with a bit of powder right after application, this looked the same from start to finish. This is a really good foundation and definitely one I will be wearing again. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you soon.